Namaste, beautiful, wonderful souls having this human experience. Just took my hat off. You can tell I've had it, huh? Beanie head is what I call it. Cannabis brings you to a higher elevation, a higher level, higher vibration. You ever notice it's really hard to stay mad at somebody if you smoke a joint? For those of you out there that don't use cannabis, I do recommend it. Way more than alcohol. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about how I know that you're not crazy and the reason why you should listen. First, take a look at this beautiful park that I am in. Look around. You see that? You see how beautiful that is? I mean, there is so much life around me right now. Probably around you as well. Sometimes it's harder to notice it, but I apologize that I haven't made a video in a few days. One of my really dear friends, she's in a sense a soulmate of type, maybe even the one, who knows, but she was in the hospital. Please send her your love and your prayers. I know she'll be okay. She doesn't know that yet, but I do, and I know you will, so thank you for that, because I can feel it when I ask for it in my mind. Yeah, try that, some of you. See if you can just vocalize out loud when you need to. Please help send me light and love, all of you light workers and warriors alike, and you'll feel it. Okay, back to the whole crazy thing. Look, if you're feeling crazy and you're feeling alone and you're feeling like the world's going mad because nobody around you is realizing that things like Coca-Cola Life, never really seen that, a green can of Coca-Cola, really, or bigger things like, of course, the Kennedy assassination and Stone Mountain in Georgia. I mean, well, there's like 300 of them now, I think, that are on the list. Pick and choose whichever one you want. Berenstein Bears. But the reason that I know you're not crazy isn't because I just came to that conclusion, and it isn't because I haven't had to understand or deal with some of the same stuff that you have to. Yes, I am very blessed that I have my son, T3PO, Roger DePayne, and his channel. And we've always been close, and we came upon the Mandela effect and this awakening thing together in around 2015. In fact, this is like 4 years now since I realized that the North Pole ice cap was no longer there. Strange, man. Strange days ahead. If you're just now coming into the Mandela effect and it's starting to take over your life and make you crazy and you're watching videos all the time and you're seeing all these effects all of a sudden, welcome to the wonderful, chaotic world. And good morning, because you're awake. If you've already experienced this for a couple years now, or a few years, then I'm with you 100%, and you're not nuts, and you're not crazy. You more than likely are right. In fact, I'm going to say you are, because it doesn't matter what theory that you're trying to subscribe to figure it out. It doesn't matter what's causing it. What matters is that it's happening, and it will lead you towards a path of love and light and awakening, which is, I believe, what it's really there to do. Maybe it was here all along and we just didn't observe it, but now we're able to. We're like the regents. I forget who it was, and if you're watching, I will get you back for this. There's a guy that does a video called The Regent, about being a regent and what the word regent really means. And it's like the speakers, the ones that God gave the gift of words and creation to. See, we are the creators. That's why we're observing these things. And this isn't coming from somebody who's, had everything going for him and just got a great life. I mean, I do have a great life, but that's because I appreciate its greatness. But I have lost a lot. I have had friends that used to think that I was brilliant, now all of a sudden think I'm just loony and don't pay attention to anything I say, won't take advice because they just assume that, well, that guy believes the reality can change right in front of you without, physical reality changing. Whoa. They can't accept that, see, and so everything you say from that point on, is going to be questionable to them. And I guess rightfully so for them in their worlds, until they wake up. And then you'll be there for them and you'll be like, yeah, that's right. And they'll be saying some major apologies to you. Just like I kind of had to do to somebody I love, but that's a whole nother video. But as far as like people not paying attention, people thinking you're crazy, people getting mad at you for even bringing it up. I know you've all came across those, right? They just start getting angry that you would even bring it up. Why would you even call it that? Why you even talk about that? They just want you to forget about it. Pretend that your memory was bad. But guess what? It's not, actually. You probably have a good memory. I'd be willing to bet you have a really good memory. I'd be willing to bet you always have. And I'd be willing to bet you're probably artistically, creatively inclined in some ways, whether you've explored them or not. And I would be willing to bet that you are a very compassionate person that genuinely does give a shit and care about other people. And that's a good thing. That's one of the reasons you're awake. But see, now this isn't coming from somebody who's just seen the light. This isn't coming from somebody just trying to preach to you because I've joined this group or the Church of the Mandela effect and I just want everybody to be saved. No. No, this is coming from somebody that's not necessarily been a saint all my life. I don't have regrets. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a bad person at all. But I have and do acknowledge that there is a vast gray area between black and white, and that right and wrong is only perceptions. All truth is half truth. No, this is coming from somebody who, yes, has a son who sees the Mandela effect and is also awakening to light and love and is on that same path and journey. And that is wonderful. I'm very blessed and happy about that. But he has a sister. I have a daughter. She doesn't talk to us. We grew up together, She was there. She was around. We did countless productions of theater together, both children and main stage community theater. I never told her what to do. I always made time for her friends and even let her put me off just because she had stuff to do. And my daughter is why I'm a mainly vegetarian, almost vegan, sometimes vegetarian. But the whole not eating meat, that was because of my daughter. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, almost like overnight, she became somebody completely different. She has memories that my son and I don't have. She has ideas that we could never imagine her supporting. She hasn't spoken to me in over 2 years, not even for Christmas, Thanksgiving, or birthdays, and does not want to hear from me. I love my daughter. I still love her even though she's turned into a drone. I have had to deal with losing respect from people. I've had to deal with losing very close friends, both because they just became completely different people overnight, and also because they just think I'm fucking nuts and they can't handle it, whether it be out of fear or whatever. It's hard to worry about things like making money, buying shit, when this happens to you. Which you shouldn't worry about that shit anyway, really, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that, no, when I tell you you're not crazy, it's not coming from somebody that hasn't been through this. It's coming from somebody that has been through it. Somebody who's had to live with this and go through it and feel that loneliness that you're feeling and feel that despair that some of you are feeling. This is coming from somebody who has been on the edge of that cliff waiting to fucking step off, and sometimes even stepping off and being lucky that fucking God sent a patch of wind just to blow you back. Somebody that still has to occasionally deal with those kind of thoughts. Also from somebody that is 100% certain that it wouldn't do any good, because we're eternal. I and you, we, are eternal spirits connected to eternal spirit before we were human, and we will be after we are human, no matter how many human times we get, or Pleiadian, or whatever else. This is from somebody who's bringing it to you with a cold and broken hallelujah. One that knows that it's going to be one of the hardest things that you do in your entire existence. This is big. Taking this path and taking this journey, especially if you're on my video, you're important. You matter, and you're very important. You're special. You're gifted and cursed at the same time. You are going to have to deal with more pain and suffering than you have ever even contemplated being able to deal with. People are going to do things that you would never expect them to do, or you wouldn't be their friends. It's going to make you question everything, and I know I've said that, but I can't say it enough. It's going to make you question everything about reality around you. And then all of a sudden you're going to start waking up, and you're going to start noticing, oh wow, yeah, who would have called that we actually, our solar system's from a different galaxy than the Milky Way, and we're just being eaten by the Milky Way. Or did you know now that there are fish that climb trees and breathe oxygen? Yes, I'm talking about fish from the water that jump out of the water, climb up the trees, and can breathe the oxygen in the air. Yeah, along with squabbits. It's a cross between a rabbit and a squirrel. Very, very adorable, don't get me wrong, but for there to be mammals and stuff that we haven't, discovered till recently, and the fish, I'm pretty sure we didn't know much about them until recently too. And yeah, you may say, oh, there's all kinds of life in the ocean that we don't know about, and you're right, there is. But I'm talking about a fish that jumps out of the fucking water and climbs up a tree. Welcome to our beautiful, chaotic world. But you're not crazy. You are part of this collective of us. You are part of this awesomeness. We are on a path to changing the universe and the world. We're evolving. We're taking human beings to the place that they were supposed to be and that we were supposed to do. So, I want you to, instead of thinking you're crazy the next time, I want you to think to yourself, wow, I'm pretty damn important. Because you are. The fact that you can see, the fact that you can notice these changes in reality, just the very fact that you can notice these changes in reality, but yet other people that you know and love and respect cannot, that should tell you something. Jim was asking me in a comment about why I felt like, or what was my theory on why we're not all like closer together, and why are we all so spread apart and don't know each other, and all of this. And I think that that's going to probably be a long theory to discuss a few times, but I think part of it, though, that came to my head right away was that, well, it's a telepathic kind of thing, right? You're all going to notice that too. You're going to start getting a little bit more telepathic. You're going to start getting a little more psychic. You're going to start being able to read people a lot better. And I think we, had to be so far apart. Well, like I said, you'll eventually, you if you need me or any other light warrior, and you need our love and our light to help give you strength or send it to where you want, just ask. Ask. And then believe what you're believing and feeling, because you'll feel our love. So maybe we just had to be all spread apart because we're kind of like the foundations of the building. Like, you can't put on the wallpaper and paint everything until you've got the foundations dug and set. You can't even put up the walls until you have the foundations up. You can't make a beautiful artistic landscape. The majority of the time when you're doing a landscape, for instance, it looks ugly and horrible until you get to that last part where you get to plant all the plants, and then you see this palette of beauty come out. But you can't have that palette of beauty if you don't have the right soil and the irrigation system that runs through it. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's like a cake. If you've ever seen anybody that has the talent of being able to decorate a cake, you don't just get that right away. You have to bake the cake first. Then it's just an ugly looking cake, and then you got to put the cakes together, and then you got to put icing on it, and then you got to make it look all pretty and nice and decorate it. Yeah. It reminds me of this artist that Alan Watts talked about, this Zen artist that would go and get really drunk off of sake, rice wine, and then he'd dip his long hair into the paint, and then he'd thrash it around the room on these different palettes, or, sorry, not palettes, different, what do you call them, things that you paint on, I should know that. Either way, it'll come to me. Anyway, then he'd go back, and he would decide what kind of landscape it was, based off of that, and then he'd paint it in and make it look all pretty and detailed and perfect. Now, we are the creators, the regents. See, we're the ones that have been given the gift to know that what we say and what we think and what we do matters greatly, a lot more than we ever even realized. Now we're starting to realize it. So pay attention to what you're thinking. Pay attention to what you're doing and what you're saying. I mean, you're going to have thoughts that are negative or lower vibrational thoughts. That's fine, have them, and then let them go, and then replace them with love. It's kind of like when you're trying to meditate, when you're trying to clear your mind. You can't clear your mind, right? Because you keep thinking about it, and then as soon as you think you've got it cleared, some random thought just pops up in there, and you're like, no, fuck, go away, darn it, I'm trying to meditate. And the thought's like, what? See, what you do is you have the thought. You say, think you thought, now clear my head. I am one with the moment. And this is a beautiful big moment that we're in. So I think that's it, Jen. I think that we're the foundations. We're the stones. The walls will be built upon us. We're going to manifest a beautiful reality, everybody. And that's the other thing, too. Let's look at some of the people in history that people thought were kind of crazy and out there, right? Einstein, Tesla, Edison. Did you know that Benjamin Franklin and George Washington and a lot of these guys, Abraham Lincoln, they were high school dropouts in a sense. They didn't have a lot of secondary school. Did you know that the person that created YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and MacBooks and iPhones, they were all dropouts. They didn't finish school. Feeling better yet? Are you realizing yet how special you actually are? You thought you were crazy and you thought you were all alone, and guess what? You're not. There's a lot of us out there, and there's more and more every day. And if you haven't gotten to the awaken part yet, and abilities to manifest reality, and the actual bliss of knowing for sure, for certain, with no doubts ever creeping in, that we are eternal beings that are all connected, well, you'll get there. So, try to remember that when some of the people that you love are trying to tell you you're nuts, when you're feeling all alone, that somewhere out there, currently in Northern California, which I may change that for a bit, thinking of going on a spiritual journey, but I'm out there, and I'm with you. I believe you. No matter what it is that's going on, I believe you. Even if you're going to tell me that you had a kid and now you don't have him and the kid's just disappeared and you and your wife can't fucking understand where your kid is, or your wife doesn't even remember having the kid, I believe you. You know why? Because anything is possible. That is something that you are going to have to accept to move forward in your path. Anything is possible. It's all possible. Thank you again for all your comments. I love you all. You should love you too. Even if it seems rough. And it will. That's what makes it worth it. Peace. Live life to love life, and try living life. You'll find that it's a wonderful thing. It really is. You know, it's like this park. You could look at this park, you could be like, wow, this is such a beautiful place. There's so many resources and so abundant, and that's true. Or you could look at this park and be like, wow, that is a scary place. Like, what if I didn't know anybody or have anybody and I had to sleep there? What are you going to do? That's true too. See how that works? It's like a double-sided coin. It's got two heads and tails, right? Every saint is a sinner. And the people with the greatest capacity for sin are actually saints. So, slow down and take a breath. Dry your eyes if you need to, and cry them out if you need to. Go out and laugh at something until you fall down, and scream at something until you just can't yell or scream anymore and your voice is gone. Don't try to set yourself towards expectations, especially other people's, and don't try to have to think that you need to excuse your behavior or your thoughts or your opinions, because you're a light warrior, and a light warrior doesn't have to explain their behavior. A light warrior does not have to try to love. You are love. You're made of love. So as long as you're being true to you and honest with you, which you're going to have to do, because guess what? Everybody else could change overnight. Happens. As long as you're being true to you and honest with you, you will get down this path the way you need to go, and you will be amazed at the journey. I am so far, and it's barely began. In fact, I actually recently decided on some major big decisions in my life, and decided one of the ways I'm going to get there is taking this spiritual kind of quest, this sort of modern day Zen kind of thing, where I'm just going to be for a while. Maybe go do some traveling without any money and without anything to do it with. Maybe just trying to figure it out as I go, not even knowing where I'm going. Going with the flow and letting the current take me. Losing control to find that you've really gained control. Just go spend a night or two outside with nothing. And at first it will be very scary, especially if you've had no kind of experience going towards that. But at one point, though, you realize, wow, I feel more alive now than I ever have. All that rat racing, everything they told me that I should do, they were wrong and I was right. That's the feeling you're going to have. On the next video, I'll discuss more of my idea of going out for some spiritual seeking. I think I'm supposed to. Let me know what you think. Love you. Bye.